Hi, everyone, and welcome to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K Laidlaw. Wendy has spent the last 2 years helping women with various stages of endometriosis to heal naturally after putting her condition into remission. After her own healing success from stage 4 endometriosis and adenomyosis, she's inspired to heal others, and her goal is to help some of the 175 million women know that there is another way other than painkillers, drugs, or surgery. This is the place to be for real talk with real people for real results, so you can learn how to heal your endometriosis naturally. Please note that the opinions expressed in this program may represent options, but are not a substitute for proper medical care. Before starting any new healthcare program, we recommend you consult with a health professional.
Hey everyone, it's Wendy K Laidlaw here from Heal Endometriosis Naturally. I always say I'm really excited, but I am so excited to be interviewing my next guest, which is Laura from Uganda. She's very kindly agreed to take some time out of a really busy day to share her experience with the Heal Endometriosis Naturally book and the 12-week foundation program. Hey Laura, how are you today?
Hey Wendy, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for agreeing to take the time to come.
No, not a problem. Sure.
It's always a joy. It really is a joy for me because I think, and I get emotional even now, like what people don't probably appreciate if they're listening to this or they're watching this is the journey that people have come from where they were at before. And hopefully by hearing your story, you will inspire others to take similar action. So thank you so much for being here. So I wonder if you might maybe just start by sharing with the listeners kind of what you were like before the Heal Endometriosis Naturally book and program.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Laura, and I live in Uganda. I'm Ugandan, and I've pretty much had an extended period of pain during my periods. Right from the onset, I started my periods at maybe age 11, and I can't remember a day when I was on my period and not in pain and not upset and not sad. And it was obviously quite difficult for me, while I was at school, trying to learn how to basically be tidy enough not to have any accidents.
Yeah.
And while at the same time taking painkillers and being worried when I was writing my final exams if I would be able to go through in case those exam dates coincide with my period.
Yeah.
So fast forward to I think around 2011, 2012. I'd basically been going through, all those, bad times during that time of the month. So around 2012, 2013, I was working in Lusaka on a project for work. And I remember this one time I was in bed and suddenly my period starts. And I had to get up to go to the bathroom. And I had this huge outpour of blood. It was crazy. There was so much blood, and I was very scared because it hadn't been that bad before. So I couldn't make it out of the house that day, and the following day I went to see a doctor, and then he says, "Oh, I think you have, I think you might have fibroids, but I'm not too sure. I can't really see what's going on." And then fast forward to about 2 months later, I finally go back home in Uganda, and there I was able to access my regular gyne, and they checked me out, and it was then that I was told that I had fibroid cysts, like a couple of them in my uterus, and on top of that, I had endometriosis. So I knew about fibroids, but I had no idea what endometriosis was. So I had to do my research. I'm like, oh my goodness. And that was August. So I spoke to him about it, but somehow we didn't we didn't dwell on it much, and eventually he proposed. We moved on to planning the wedding. But even then, I still had at the back of my mind that there was something wrong. There's something happening inside me, and my periods are worse. They're going on for longer. The bleeding is a lot. The pain is too much. And basically, what the doctors are saying, oh yeah, you need surgery. You need to cut them out. If you want to progress, then they must come out. So that was 2015. Sorry, I might be a bit hazy with the dates, but please bear with me. So that was around 2015. And soon after the wedding, which was in August, my husband somehow had spent quite a bit of time trying to research about endometriosis and fibroids, and he discovered a doctor in Istanbul. So we made an appointment, went to see him, and it's then that, he said the position of this fibroid is exactly where implantation would ideally happen. So if you wanted to have a baby, it is not possible. So it needs to come out. And I had the surgery, and it came out. And then the following year, I still had issues with my periods, still had pain. And I went to see the doctor much later, but now there was a doctor back here in Uganda. And then they say, oh, Laura, you've gotten worse. You've gotten worse. I mean, fine, that fibroid was taken, not good for you, but now you have fibroids, endometriosis, and adenomyosis. And I think to myself, now, how many big goals do I have to learn? How many conditions can someone have? And it's then that I thought, no, maybe I need a timeout, because they were proposing more surgery. And I felt I had gone through, that surgery alone was too much. And I thought, no, wait, maybe I need to take a step back and stop. And also, there is the financial aspect. It's not cheap. It's not free to get surgery done. So for them to propose another operation means more money. And so we decided to take a step back, my husband and I. And honestly, when we took a step back, we didn't even know what was stepping back to. Okay, we knew we were stepping back from the surgeries, but we didn't know what was stepping back to do.
Yeah.
It was quite depressing. It was a very sad time for us. But that's when I started searching on the internet, and he too was searching. He was reading a lot. I remember he used to talk. You tried to talk to me about endometriosis, say what he discovered, what he thinks I must do. So I started searching on the internet, and I read a few articles here and there suggesting what I must do. And at that time, I had started listening to audiobooks a lot. I thought, oh, maybe I should try searching for a book on endometriosis on Amazon's audiobooks site. Yeah. And so then I landed in the book Wendy. And I checked the reviews to see, would it be worth the buy? Reviews were good. There were a few, customers commenting about how it was a brilliant book. So I took my chance and paid for it. But then there was, I listened to the first chapter. Oh, not really the whole chapter. It was like the first bit. And then I thought to myself, but should I really be listening to this? How do we know it's not someone else trying to sell something and, make it seem all glorious and, and perfect? And then I remember so distinctly thinking that Wendy's white. Would what's happening to her or what's working for her work for me because I'm black, I'm different. So I was fighting with different thoughts to be very honest. And then I thought, let me just listen. Let me continue. And honestly, when I got past the first chapter, because it's a well-read, it's very well read to the audience, and it's very depictive of the emotion and exactly what you thought at that time. Like when you talk about how you were suffering and couldn't get out of bed and couldn't hang out with your kids. It's something that chimed with me, and I couldn't get it off. I kept listening and listening and listening, and it's like, OMG, oh my goodness, this is actually real. I mean, this is something that is very. I mean, the reader is very candid. So I remember I used to listen to it every morning and every evening during my commutes to the office and then back to home. And then finally I thought, no, maybe I should Google and check if she's out there, if she exists. and that's when I discovered your website. And I remember thinking to myself, well, maybe I should send her an email. And lo and behold, you responded to me. I honestly have never had an author respond to me. I didn't know it was something that happens easily. So, I mean, you responded and then told me about the foundation program. But prior to that, you mentioned that there was a webinar you were running, and it was free. I mean, I could join and basically know about you and what you've been through. And honestly, I was taken. I was taken in 100%. And I've never looked back, Wendy. I mean, I've been with you since that time, even when I was toying with the thought of joining the program. And I've honestly never looked back. And everyone knows you. My husband knows Wendy, because then I have to say, it was my birthday the other day, and Wendy said I must not eat cake.
There were some people who do.
My mom knows Wendy.
The way you do, like, hashtag do what Wendy says, like a new hashtag.
No, absolutely. Like, everyone knows you. Like, everyone that's close to me, everyone that's dear to my heart, knows you, because I've spoken about you to them, and they know the do's and don'ts. And here at home, Shane, my husband has had to change his diet as well. Like, he's eating exactly what I eat. He hasn't yet started the smoothies, but he's basically aligned to what Wendy recommends. But really, just to go back to your initial question about my previous, where I've come from, and that's just a snippet of where I've come from and where I've reached. I haven't said so much about what I've done with you. Maybe we'll progress into that. But yes, that's a summary of my past.
Well, that's, I mean, gosh, it's a reminder, isn't it, just how much pain and suffering, depression, worry, anxiety, fear that you were obviously going through during those years. And then, as you say, you had surgery to get fibroids removed, and then you developed more fibroids and adenomyosis and other conditions. And I think that's what can be incredibly frightening, to women when they're on this medical wheel of painkillers, drugs and surgery, because I know I was in the past under the impression that I went to a doctor or a gynecologist and my conditions or my symptoms would have got better. And what's frightening is when they don't get better and they get worse. That's even more alarming. But well done you for taking that step back. And as you say, at that point you were like, well, where was I going to take that step back to? And what did that mean? And I'm so, I think it's fantastic that you reached out and rather than just carried on that hamster wheel of medical procedures and avoided ending up where I ended up, which was bedridden for 3 years. That's why it's just, you never want that to happen to anyone. So obviously it's fantastic that you read the book and you came to the webinar and then you made that commitment to yourself to start the foundation program. So what did you, if anyone's listening to this and sitting on the fence, like, you know, do I join this foundation program or not? Perhaps you could give a little bit of, you know, what your experience was of it and your symptoms at the start and how much better, you know, where you are now within your body, emotionally and everything as well.
Okay. So, yes, if anyone would ask me if they join the program, the foundation program or not, I would say absolutely get in there. Get in there already. At the time I started this program, I didn't know what to expect. And Wendy has an assistant called Practitioner, and basically they work together to make sure that you settle in very gently. And I remember the start, I was quite anxious to get in there, see what you have out there, see what I need to read, see what webinars are out there. But I like that it was very, very gentle. So essentially what happens is that this information comes to you gently, and you won't get overwhelmed. Yeah. And you need to have the resolve and the passion to be part of the program, right? Because what happens is that you need to put in the work like anything else. And where I was at that time, I honestly was willing to do anything, absolutely anything to heal myself. And anyway, fast forward to week 1 in the foundation program, there was, you know, some basic orientation on what to expect, what the expectations from Wendy would be, and it's honestly very simple, because each week there would be new information on what we need to do. Like for starters, I remember the most critical thing we had to do was stop consuming wheat, stop eating this, don't eat cakes, don't eat biscuits or whatever it is that contains wheat. And it's not just the wheat that you can see so clearly right there. You learn how to check the ingredients in different foods. Say if you're using spices, I mean, you must check the back, see what's in there. So basically, you learn how to learn. You learn how to stand on your feet. You learn how to move forward confidently and independently, so that should Wendy step aside, you can still move on, right? And then the next week there was a different set of foods to cut out. I think there was cut out sugar, then cut out dairy, and then there would be weekly webinars, and then there are these. It's very engaging, and basically what happens is that the different ladies that are on this program join a Facebook group, and in there they'll talk about their worries and their fears, and it's quite open. So you read what's happening to someone else, and you might have gone through the same thing, and then you join in and say, "Oops, that also happened to me." And then either someone will tell you what they did to get better, or when they join and says, "Oh no, yeah, you know, I did X, Y, Z." Or you might have questions about. I remember I didn't honestly know how to read the ingredients right. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure. Okay, is it just wheat, or is it wheat germ that is also a problem? Is it wheat X? And you know, it's like straight out, no wheat. Whether it's wheat X, wheat Y, no wheat. Yes, and then so this engagement is. I mean, it's very intimate. It's very close, and you have access to Wendy, like full time. You send an email, she'll respond. And what I liked about the program as well is that not only do you focus on the food, Wendy. I mean, because yes, we know there's a lot of junk out there. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're human beings, we're social beings. And what that means is that we have emotions. There are things we feel, and it's very important to manage our thoughts just so we have peace in our hearts. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people who might be listening to this know that Worry is horrible, and worry is the root of different medical conditions that you might have. So this program also looks into the emotions. Are you at peace? If you're not at peace, what is it that is in this disorder? And then Wendy will suggest, basically she'll coach you through that issue and suggest different ways you can handle it. And then on top of that, it goes further to investigate the different products that we're using. So basically, what soaps are you putting on your skin? What detergents are you using in your clothes? Because the clothes eventually go on your body. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that it's a holistic program.
Yeah.
And Wendy, I like that you had those the appointments would make to have one-on-ones with you, and you basically tell us to speak to you about anything that's bothering us. I mean, let's just say it out there, and you'll be willing to talk to us and walk us through it.
Yeah.
And obviously, I can't forget to talk about the three critical, the mandatory things that we have to do in the program. That's the morning power shake, yeah. Then there's the morning journals, and the journals obviously is the journaling is something that is required. So you have your thoughts on paper, and it lets you know exactly what's bothering. Because sometimes you think things and you don't even know you're thinking them, right? But if you put pen to paper, then you understand what's bothering you. And then the third one is the daily meditation. To be very honest, of the three, the easiest was the shake. Because the shake is, it's just not too bad. It's easy. All you have to do is make a shake and consume it every morning, and from waking up. But I initially struggled with the journaling, and for me, it was because I'm not keen to go back and read sections where I've written about things that make me sad. Like, I don't remember things that have made me sad. And obviously, when you journal, you don't always be happy every day. There will be days when you're sad and you write about those sad times. But then, to be sad is to be human. So if that's what happened, it's okay to embrace it and to learn how to live with it and to learn how to move forward, right?
Yeah.
And I also struggled with meditation. I ordinarily have like a wild mind. I'm always thinking things like midway through the meditation, I'm thinking, oh, did I respond to that email? Did I call my mom? Did I tell my husband to do X, Y, Z? So I had to learn to close it all in and basically remain in the now.
Yeah.
And just be in the now, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still learning. I'm not an expert at journaling. I'm not an expert at meditating. I'm still learning. And that's the beauty of this program. It is something that remains part of you. It is something that you will walk with for the rest of your life. These are skills that you keep. These are skills that are valuable. And honestly, if you're toying with the thought of joining, please join already. It's definitely it's a lifetime investment. And yes, I need to talk about the bonus that I had. I lost weight. Just like that. I was eating so much, but I was eating the right stuff.
Yeah.
The right stuff, and the weight just goes off. But in summary, this is something that will walk with you forever. It is something you'll be able to pass on to someone else, as long as you yourself have been able to grow in it and understand exactly where you are. You'll be able to pass on to your daughter or to your sister or even to your husband or your son, because all of us need good health. All of us need good health. All of us need to eat the right way. So yes, Wendy.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's wonderful to hear your journey. And for those that are listening, compared to how you were when you started, how are you physically now? Because obviously you said you had pain lots of the time, I think ovulation and menstruation. So how is your body now?
Okay, so basically I used to hate my period. I hated it so much. I remember there's a time my little nieces came to visit. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, these poor girls, one day they have to have their periods. How sad is that? I mean, that's how much I hated my period. And since, as soon as I started the program, first of all the bloating disappeared. And that's after dropping all the dairy and the wheat and sugars. So immediately I had honestly zero bloating, and I know where it's supposed to be. And then I think about 4 to 5 weeks into the program, I no longer had ovulation pain. And oh my goodness, I mean that is crazy. That is a miracle. I used to hurt so much on the side at the time of ovulation, and zero pain, honestly.
Amazing.
And by the time I go to maybe about week 7, 8, 9, I honestly have zero pain during my period. Zero pain. And my period is very unceremonious. I mean, before it was like a huge thing. Oh my goodness, it's starting. Oh my goodness, the pain has started. But now, nothing at all.
That's amazing.
And for me, already that's enough. I mean, that's such a big achievement, Wendy. And there's no way I'm going back. I'm not going back to the pain. I'm not going back to all that stuff. I know I need to keep going. And more so, it's lighter, and my period is much lighter, and it's much more manageable. I still have 7 days of it, but I hope one day it will be much shorter.
Yes. Well, what I'm hearing from you is that this is what I love, and this is why it's so important for me to interview people like yourself who've been so successful in the program. You've made this commitment, you've followed the step-by-step, guidance. But I'm hearing that you are empowered now. You understand what's going on in your body. I think you'd emailed Christina at halfway through the program and said that you'd been to see nutritionists and naturopaths and stuff before, and they just told you what to do, but they didn't explain, the full context of everything behind that. And what I'm hearing from you is that you really have the power now. Like, you are the boss of your endometriosis, and you are the epiphany of an endo boss, which I know all of us in the community are talking about now. You are you are the boss of your endometriosis, and you understand what's happening inside your body. You're not just beholden to this condition that was running rampage before. Now you understand all the different elements, and it's wonderful that you talked about the emotional component, because I do talk about it in other interviews about how it's not many people are aware of what the whole condition can do to a woman emotionally. Not only that fighting to be believed, but just that emotional upset, depression, overwhelm. So how have you found the program has helped you emotionally?
At the beginning of the program, I was very, very scared. I lacked faith. I as a pessimist, and it was more like, oh my goodness, so this is going to happen. Oh, there you go again. Of course, the doctors will say something is worse. Oh yes, you are. And also, I was helpless. But I guess with knowledge comes power, because like you said earlier, in this program you understand when they say avoid wheat, there is an explanation behind that. Why must you avoid wheat? What's the history behind it? What happened to that wheat that has messed it up, and you must not consume, you must not eat it. So that kind of knowledge, it builds your confidence, right? Yeah. And the more confident you are, the more optimistic you are about the future. And then also, what I like about the program is that, you always repeatedly told us to be kind to ourselves, right? And that, if we take things one step at a time, eventually we'll get there, as long as we're consistent.
Yeah.
So, if we can practice that kind of gentleness and understanding and empathy on ourselves, will honestly be able to pass it on to others. And I've honestly learned to be more empathetic, more understanding of others. I'm also keen to listen to others. Say, I keep my friend complain that says, my tummy is hurting because my period just started. I'm keen to find out what's happening, keen to help. Like, it's something that will emanate outwards from you towards others, as long as you've worked on yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, just to answer your question directly, I feel that I have learned to take more control of my emotions, not only for myself, but also towards others.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think your journey's been amazing. You've been so consistent and persistent, and the results speak for themselves, which is always wonderful to see. And full credit to you for being so courageous and taking a leap of faith into a program that you're like, I know I need this. I don't know what's up ahead of me. But you committed to it. It was wonderful. So what surprised you the most about the program?
I honestly didn't think I would go down to the basics in this program. I remember at one point we were learning about mitochondria, and the last time I had that word was probably my Form 2 or Form 3 in secondary school. So I didn't know. I honestly didn't know that it would be something that takes me back to first principles.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a program where we have the do's and don'ts, right? And we do the do's, do not do the don'ts, and you'll be good, without an explanation to exactly why. Yeah. So that's the first thing that surprised me. And then the second one is that I think because we're going down to the basics, I thought it would be very rigorous, like maybe being in school. But what I like about it is that it's basically Wendy takes you as you are. Wendy somehow follows your pace, right? It's not a program that is going to determine what speed you move at or what kind of energy you must have. No, somehow the program adjusts itself to you as a person. So it's quite it's customized to the person that joins it, and yet it allows you access to the other participants, just so you can benefit not only from those people in the program, but other people that are joining. So that is something I honestly didn't anticipate.
Oh, well, that's great. Well, it's great to get this feedback and to hear that. And what would you say if someone is sitting on the fence right now? I know you kindly kind of gave some feedback at the beginning of this interview, but I hope if people have heard your story and heard this, the symptoms and the conditions that you've had and what you've done just in 12 weeks with your full credit. I know some people say it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it, because there are adjustments and change that have to be made. But the benefits that you get from energy levels and being out of pain and feeling better about yourself as a human, what would you say to someone if they're sitting on the fence? What would be your parting words to them about joining the 12-week foundation program?
What I would say to them is, first of all, you're not alone. You're not alone. You do not have to be alone, and you do not have to walk this journey alone. There are lots of people that have been through it, right? And there's proof that it's possible to get better naturally, and that is through food, eating the right food, and managing the thoughts. I would tell them, do not sit there and stay sad. Stand up and move forward. Take charge of your health. Take charge of your health and take advantage of the fact that there is someone out there who has been where you are right now and has gotten past it and is living a very happy and comfortable life. You don't have to do things alone. Take advantage of that and step forward. There will be someone to walk with you, and reach out to the right people. That's what I would tell them, Wendy.
Yeah. And that's lovely to hear. And I think even just you saying just feeling empowered, because I think the medical machine, and I'm not bashing the medical machine because, it can do some great things for us all. But with endometriosis, fibroids, adenomyosis, these types of conditions, they're really just trying to manage the symptoms and they're not getting to the root causes of what's causing these things. And then you end up in this spiral of feeling helpless. So it's wonderful that you end this interview by just talking about standing up and feeling empowered and taking, reach out, come to the webinar and come and listen to more people. So thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate, I know you're really busy, taking the time out to share your journey. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. So make sure that you keep doing what you're doing, and lovely to hear that you get that this is not just a 12-week thing. It's a lifelong way of living that can benefit your body, and your body's just going to always be doing what it's always doing, which is to heal itself and keep getting stronger and stronger. And you're a testament to so many other people out there, and I'm sure your story will inspire others.
Oh, I hope so. I hope it does.
Oh, I have no doubt at all.
Thanks, Wendy.
Well, look, and if you're listening to this and you want to know more, there are several ways to find out more. Laura was just like you, a couple of months ago going, I need to, if you're thinking the painkillers, drugs and surgery is not working for you and you want to try something different, a new path, a new journey, then there's several ways you can do that. You can go into Amazon Audible, as Laura did, and download the audiobook there. Or on Amazon, there's a paperback book, and there's even the Kindle version. But I'm offering a free promotion, a free paperback book worth $14.99. Just pay shipping and handling, and you can get, explained my story and what worked for me on there. Equally, if you want to join the upcoming webinar, then go to healendometriosisnaturally.com and download the top 5 tips there, and you'll be on the mailing list. Or you can go to healendometriosisnaturallycourse.com and apply to work with me there. But wherever you are in your journey, don't give up, don't despair. There is another way, and make sure you find out that today. And I'm a poet and I didn't know it. There you go. I'm going to end on my poetry note. But thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today. And I hope you're feeling really proud of all your achievements, what you've accomplished in your body.
I do. Thanks. Thanks, Wendy.
Thanks, Laura.
So nice to be here.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K Laidlaw. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and rate us. If you're interested in learning more, you can download your top 5 jumpstart tips at healendometriosisnaturally.com and jump on the VIP email list. Remember to keep you number one. The world needs a healthy you.